Yeah. Okay, welcome to the Oracle of Enlightenment vortex on the night of the polar vortex with this cold winter's night here in Buffalo, New York. Joining me as co-hosts are, of course, the lovely Miss Ann Burka.
Hello.
And the super powerful Brandon Mack.
Yo, that's not me.
All right.
There you are.
He's dressed like Superboy. Okay, great.
Hey, don't call him Superboy. He's the Metropolis Kid.
The other Superboy. Anyway, and also joining us tonight is Sarah Silvertongue.
Greetings.
Our actor extraordinaire, and who also will be co-hosting tonight. All right, so we've been having some issues tonight, and we're happy to be on the air, so we're going to jump right into our play. This episode of The Mighty Beyond, we are at the school's cafeteria, and Jason is sitting having his lunch, and Trixie comes in and sits down at his table because all the other tables are taken. And then Miss Jolene walks in to have a conversation with Sarah, and Jason joins in on the conversation, even without being asked. Ladies and gentlemen, the next episode of The Mighty Beyond. And wait, before I say that, are we good? Okay, Mike?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Mike and Richard are, of course, in the background. And action.
Hi, Trixie.
Hello.
Hey, beautiful.
Hi, Jason. If you don't mind, I would like to talk with Trixie. So, Trixie, how are you enjoying the school?
It's okay. I like being able to dress the way I want.
Yeah, it's always great to dress like the animal you are.
Ignore him, please. Are you getting along with the others?
I guess. But there aren't as many furries here.
Yeah, but there are plenty of freaks and geeks.
Hey, watch! That's a good thing, you...
Please, watch your language. This is a family-friendly school.
Yeah, the Manson family.
Don't you have a girl to go chase?
I wouldn't have to if you would just give me your digits.
The only digits you're getting are 666.
Anyway, why don't you do a workshop or a party to get more people interested in your furry lifestyle?
That sounds cool.
Good. So do you have your costume for the cosplay party?
I'm going as a cat.
Me, yow. I'm DJing it.
What are you going as? A turkey? If this was not the only free table.
And Trixie's chicken soup arrives at the table, as does Jason's Jell-O.
Okay, you two. That will do. So what game are you playing for the tourney?
I got a great Beast/Beast Warrior deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! And some cool Beast monsters for Chaotic.
Oh, nice.
Hey, with all that animal stuff, you must be one in the...
Not appropriate.
Whatever you say, beautiful. How about your Facebook name or email?
The only thing you're going to get is a punch.
Yeah, remember, we're civilized, Miss Jolene. Now, for the zombie pajama party, I put some rips in my PJs and dab them with mud.
Cool. But I need to talk to you about your pranks that you've been pulling.
Nobody has a sense of humor around here.
Putting laxatives in the punch and then locking the bathrooms was a little bit more than just a joke.
Hey, kitty, respect.
Who asked you? Now, Trixie, you have to be careful not to take it too far. This last one could have been really bad.
Yeah, sounds like it was a running gag. Get it? Running? People were running, probably gagging.
You're a pig.
Oink, oink.
Okay, I'll be more careful.
Good. See you later, and I hope I don't see you later.
Cut. Okay, good job, you guys.
Thank you.
All right, Ann, you have to leave to
Yeah,
pick up your daughter?
I do.
All right. Everyone say goodbye to Ann.
Good night, everybody.
Yes. Take care and say hi to your daughter for us, okay? Now, next on the list, Brandon and I will do a review of the new Captain America movie, which we watched with several of our friends. Brandon, what did you think of it?
I thought it was okay. Not as good as Deadpool versus Wolverine, but better than Snow White and the Seven, whatever the hell they are. Um, yeah, that. Oh, I haven't even seen that movie. Just the trailers are just so bad. No, thank you. No,
Yeah.
thank.
Well, I thought the movie was great because, I mean, first of all, I love the fact that Sam incorporated the Falcon's paraphernalia in with Captain America's, which made that interesting. And I really like the new the new Falcon. He's pretty good. And I also like the fact that Carl Lumley was playing in the film as the original Patriot, which was Isaiah
Bradley.
Bradley. Okay. Yeah, he did a great job. Everyone will know Carl Lumley as playing John Johns' father in the Supergirl TV series and voicing John Johns in some of the Justice League stuff.
Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
And quite a few of the animated movies, I believe.
That's great. And of course, he was the Mantis in the Mantis TV show on Fox back in, I believe it was the 90s. It was one of the shows that Fox very badly mishandled. But the one season they did make is actually pretty good given the situation, although it's completely different from their pilot movie. But we could do a whole show just on that show. But anyway, yeah, he did a great job in the show. He's jumped from DC to Marvel now, like a lot of the actors who are jumping back and forth. But I think he's the first actor who has left DC after being in a project that actually went well and gone over to work at Marvel. Unlike Ryan Reynolds, who jumped ship after the worst Green Lantern movie in history.
But he got a good jab in and he jumped over to Marvel.
Yes, he did.
Make sure the super suit isn't green
Yeah.
or animated.
Yeah, if you're thirsty, there's water in the tap. That was terrible. But I thought the story went well, and I thought the characters were well done, and I loved the cameo by Bucky. I know he's one of your favorite characters. Brandon, what did you think of the overall storyline?
It was all right. I mean, I didn't see any of the comic books or anything like that. I haven't really followed too closely along, so I have no idea how closely it matches canon and whatnot. But it wasn't awful.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford was good.
Yes, Harrison Ford playing the Red Hulk was amazing.
From what I hear, they used him in all of the marketing, and yet they only had him in like a brief fight scene near the end.
The Red Hulk, yes, but Harrison Ford is in most of the movie.
Yeah.
But I want to point out that when it comes to canon, this one is probably the most accurate of any of the Marvel movies as far as comic book lore goes. And I really appreciated that. I really liked it in that area, and I liked a lot of what was going on with the way Sam was interacting with the president, and a lot of different situations. Oh, hello, Mick. Good to hear from you. It's been a while. I hope you liked our play. So yeah, I really thumbs up to Captain America. And my thumbs down is Dogman. That film was terrible. I don't know why everyone keeps saying good things about it, but we decided to go see it, and I was kind of dragged to see it, and it is horrific.
It was no Captain Underpants.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see it, Brandon?
Nope.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
Like, I'm mad that actually in the book universe, they actually stopped making Captain Underpants, and George and Harold went on to make Dogman comics instead.
This thing was terrible. I'm serious. I can't tell you how bad it was, especially since it was based on a book series. Well, next I wanted to point out that we have won another award, which will be our 4th award. And Sarah is now a 2-time award-winning actor. And Brandon, you have also are starring in the film and have won the award. So and as was Anne before she had to leave. So I'm very happy that we The Beautiful Mess won an award, considering that it's the first one we had that got into one of the biggest film festivals in Buffalo. And I think that it really stands up. Even 2.5 years later, it really stands the test of time.
And I got word from my brother that I might be working on a film of his, so
Very good.
once I get more info on that, I'll let you all know.
Yeah. Brandon, do you have anything you're working on besides our stuff? Not
No.
now? Okay.
I'm supposed to be in the Lady of Castle de la Moor, but I haven't heard anything about that just yet. I guess
Okay.
that's next year, so we'll see.
Okay. All right, so did you have to go because you have that trip in the morning?
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you for being on the show, Brandon, and we appreciate it. Have a safe trip, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so Sarah and I have a plan of, we've been seeing a lot of stuff on YouTube and stuff about going through TV shows and asking about, how good they are and stuff. It's something I haven't done in a while, but I'd like to get back to. We used to do it all the time when we were on Buff State Radio in the early days of the Oracle of Enlightenment, because our first 11 years were at Buff State Radio before we moved over here to Think Twice. So we're going to talk, today we're going to discuss the Twilight Zone in all its forms. First, we're going to start with the original series, which still remains the best and the most syndicated. Now, the original pilot was called The Time Element, and it was about a man visiting a psychoanalyst complaining about a reoccurring dream in which he imagines waking up in Honolulu just prior to the attack of Pearl Harbor, which takes a major psychological toll. Now, I have not seen it, so I can't talk about it, but it sounds like 3 different episodes mashed together.
Yeah, I
it?
can see sort of elements of Perchance to Dream.
And of one of the later episodes with the encounter that involved Pearl Harbor,
The infamous band episode.
which has been back in the series for several decades now. But it was one of 4 episodes that were banned from the original syndicated run. Okay, now this one, we're going to go over them in broadcast order as opposed to shot order. The first one was, of course, Where Is Everybody? The episode about a man walking around a town with no people and trying to figure out what was going on and not having a memory of who he actually was or what he was doing there. Now, spoiler alert, okay? So if you haven't seen these episodes, I'm telling you right now, we're giving away spoilers. The end of the episode shows us that he's actually in a, you tell him.
He is an astronaut in a sensory deprivation chamber.
Yes, and he hurts himself by breaking one of the glass things. Now, originally the ending was supposed to have a supernatural element because after he's taken out of the chamber and they have the discussion about loneliness among astronauts, among people. He was supposed to reach into his pocket and take out a ripped ticket from when he went into the movie theater in the world that he created in his dream. However, that was edited out, and the actual episode was totally rational. There was no supernatural element to it, which Rod Serling was not happy about, but the network said it was the only way they were going to sell the second pilot, which they did. You know, you got to remember at the time it was hard to be experimental, and sometimes you couldn't push things the way you wanted to. But I mean, they let Rod do as much as he possibly could with the show. What'd you think of that one, Sarah?
Sorry, that wasn't my opinion on it. I swear, it's just been running a lot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gosh, like it's been a while since I watched the whole series. I might have to start from the top, but
Yeah,
where is everybody?
yeah. Very first episode aired.
Yeah, like you then like not one of the more memorable twists, I think.
Yeah, but I thought the episode was well done. The way they, you know, when you're first walking in and you see the way he's walking around the town and finding food and finding, like at the movie theater and everything. So yeah, I think that part went well. So I would definitely say it's one of the better ones. All right, next we have One for the Angels, which starred
Edwin.
yes, one of the major actors in Mary Poppins. I personally thought this episode was kind of eh. I mean, he's basically supposed to die, and he tells them, I want to make one last pitch. And the pitch he makes is to save the life of a little girl. But in order to do
It
it,
does have one of my favorite exchanges of dialogue.
which was,
When death is going to take him away. Edwin goes, you never know when you'll need something up there. Up there, Mr. Bookman. You made it.
That's good. Yeah, that was great. But his pitch was to save a little girl from being killed in his place. So I thought that went really well. Mr. Denton on Doomsday. That's one of the more forgettable episodes. To be honest, it was kind of, it's hard for me to even remember this one. It was so bad. I mean, it was, you know, a drunk named Alan Denton who began, you know, dealing with situations. I mean, it's so bad I can barely talk about it. What do you think? Same situation?
I was never really into the Western-themed episodes of The Twilight Zone. But, you know, you could do worse. Like,
Let's
like the
not get
Ransom-
ahead of ourselves, but
yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
yeah, he was the quickest draw in town, and then he started drinking, and you know, it's just not I mean,
When the not subtly named Dr. Fate gives him a potion gives him his old shooting ability for a limited amount of time, but
yeah,
this newcomer also gets the same potion.
yeah,
And they wind up injuring both of their shooting hands. So
Yeah.
as Rod put it, it pulled one man out of a pit and kept another from falling into it.
yeah, which is probably the best part of that episode. Next, we had the 16 millimeter shrine.
No, I like that one.
You did? Well, then you talk about it.
It's basically about aging starlet Barbara Jean Trenton, who loses herself in her old movies as, you know, if you've seen the new movie The Substance, the whole ageism in Hollywood thing is nothing new.
I got to see that one.
Yeah, I need. Oh, from what I've seen of it, it is freaky, but
Yeah. Well, the thing
profound.
about this episode is that it's a running theme that we've seen in films, even in TV shows like Friday the 13th, the series. Somebody using an old movie to preserve their youth. Next, we
Well, it's
have.
less that and more her lost in her memories, and in the end, that does consume her. She's literally brought into the film.
Right. Next,
So,
go ahead.
happy ending?
Sort of. It depends on your point of view. Next, we have Walking Distance. Now, I really like this one. It's about a man who walks through a time warp and returns to his childhood and discovers how things were and gets to speak with his dead parents again and gets to see his town the way it used to be, where you can get an ice cream soda for a dime. Especially one with 2 scoops of ice cream. You can get that.
Damn that inflation.
Yeah, and the ending is melancholy of the way his life was, the way he really hated his life, but goes back in time and then sees his life the way it used to be, and then returns to the future. The ending was very melancholy. I mean, it was, he didn't want to keep dwelling on the past. I mean, this was one of 3 original Twilight Zone episodes that had this concept. He basically kept thinking about his childhood and how bad his adult life was. He goes back to his childhood, relives it. It's nice.
There's a really good exchange between him and his father where he says something along the lines of, this is that little boy's summer, just as it was yours.
Yeah. And he changes something in the past that brings him...
He scares his younger self who falls off a carousel, I believe,
Yes.
and hurts his leg.
And, yeah.
So he has a limp in the
Yes,
present.
when he gets back to the present. So when he goes away, he basically is like, yes, I had a great childhood, but now it's time to move on. And again, Martin Sloan, yeah, it was one of the good ones, I think. Now, next we have Escape Clause. I don't know what the point of this one was, but it's basically, let's make a deal with the devil. Make me indestructible and immortal, and you can have my soul. But since I'm not going to die, it doesn't matter. But, most of this is just like him trying to experience what it's like to be invulnerable. But, I mean, the whole ending with...
And he gets bored, so he makes the logical conclusion that, he accidentally
kills his wife.
It was like, hey, let's see what the electric chair is like. That could be a new thrill, but the court basically gets him off with a life sentence. So, predictably, he goes sniveling back to the devil for
the escape clause. Yeah. And
there are better deals with the devil episodes in the Twilight Zone.
Yes,
later on, I would say.
there are several devil episodes. Next, we have The Lonely. Now, this was one of my favorites. It basically deals with someone being imprisoned on an asteroid and by themselves and being lonely. Again, the concept of loneliness. And the guys who bring him supplies stop by for a very short time, and they're nice enough to leave him with a female robot who keeps him company. And when later on he starts treating the robot like she's real and believing like she's real. Again, the concept of robots being used as companions for humans is not new, and it'll be seen forever. But this is where one of the places it started, and it was really good. You know, the way it was handled, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now the ending was a little sad, and I mean, there was a good side to it, but there was a bad side to it too. I mean, the good side was he got pardoned and was able to get off the asteroid. The bad thing was
There was a weight limit, and his
and-
little robot girlfriend
had to be
little
left
more than the weight
behind,
limit.
and so they killed it, so he wouldn't, worry about it. Now there was an example of being able to do an episode on a pretty slim budget. I mean, we never see the spaceship. We never see anything futuristic. The only thing we really see is the costumes that the guys wear, the gun he has, and the robot. When it's not the actress, when she gets shot at the end, most of the rest was very contemporary. So it probably didn't cost a lot, but still did a great episode. The best thing about this episode, it was one of Ted Knight's first things. He played in it as one of the space guys.
Ted Knight, why is that name so familiar?
Mary Tyler Moore, Too Close for Comfort, the voiceovers in the original Super Friends. Many things.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Exactly. Next, we have Time Enough at Last, which is considered one of the classics.
Probably one of the most referenced and parodied Twilight Zone episodes out there, and for good reason.
It stars the great,
Burgess Meredith.
thank you, basically a man who's abused by everyone because he likes to read and because he's kind of nerdy. And for some reason, he married a real... and yeah, and he goes into a vault. There's an explosion, and he's left alone in the city that's been destroyed. We don't know how far the destruction went, and basically he's trying to deal with life in this post-apocalyptic place, trying to keep himself from going insane, and decides he's going to spend the next few decades reading, which he's like, oh, I finally have time to read. That's all I'm going to do is eat and read for the next few decades. And then his glasses fall off, and he can't see.
And he says one of the most poignant bits of dialogue.
Mhm.
It's not fair. There was time now.
Yes. Now
All the time I needed.
Yeah, well, some people think that he was actually hallucinating, that what happened really didn't happen.
Oh, I think that takes away from the strength of the piece.
Well, if you think about it, if there really was a nuclear bomb, he wouldn't be able to eat the food. He wouldn't be so healthy. He'd be having radiation poisoning. So there was a lot of things in the episode that led you to believe that, no, it wasn't really happening. And it was him dealing with his own hallucination. And being in a... Now, could you survive inside a vault? Maybe. And that's a big maybe, but a bank vault. But having him be the only one that survived, that too was not very well thought out. So that's why I really don't think it really happened. It was just him trying to deal with his own issues. Next, we have Perchance to Dream, not one of my favorites. It scared me when I was a kid. About a man who gets pulled into his dreams, and they become very real to him, to the point where...
He keeps dreaming he's at a carnival and that this mysterious woman is going to kill him.
Well, she's going to do something that makes him die, not necessarily kill him, but then he's supposedly talking to a psychiatrist about the whole thing, and which leads to a very gruesome ending of this dream. And then it reveals that the whole episode has been a dream within a dream. So
The original Inception.
yes, I guess the person who wrote it, was it Rod that wrote it? They no, they were at a spook house and they saw a teenager at the door cleaning his nails with a knife, and he was like a real punked out dude, and they got afraid of him. And when they went into the spook house, they were like afraid he was gonna kill them in there because he was a psycho or something. And they ran through it and were imagining all these things. And when they got out, he was still sitting there doing the same thing. He hadn't moved. So they were like, I can turn this into an episode of The Twilight Zone. Next we have Judgment Night.
Try to rack my brain about that one.
That was I'm trying to remember which one that was. Do you remember it? Tell me which one it was.
I don't remember it.
I
think
believe
it's,
it was one of the guy gets on a boat and starts having flashbacks of the war and starts being sent back to the war. And I mean, no, this one was so forgettable we can't even remember it. That's how bad it is.
It turns out he was the he was the one that sunk the boat, and now he's trapped.
All right.
in
Yeah. That basically, it was.
the
He was a
nightmare.
passenger on the SS Queen of Glasgow, an isolated British cargo liner. He has no idea how he got aboard or who he is. Sitting with the captain and several passengers. He dismisses fear of the ship being hunted by a U-boat, saying only one U-boat would be necessary and it wouldn't be a wolf pack, and not to bother using torpedoes on the ship. He is unable to explain how he knows any of this and recalls only that he was born in Frankfurt, but says he finds the ship, its crew, its passengers totally familiar. When called to the bridge to the captain, he cannot provide proof of his identity. Still confused, and yeah, basically it's a man who did something evil trapped in his personal hell, you know? Lucifer style. Next we again, very forgettable. Next we have And When the Sky Was Open. Now this one's pretty cool. But it's a little weird, but it's pretty cool. Basically, 3 astronauts go into space. Something happens to them up there. They come back, and they start disappearing one by one. And when they disappear, all memory and everything about them is erased as if they didn't exist. And they figure it out and try to figure out how to stop it. They're not able to. They're erased. Their ship is erased.
And we never figure out why. Like,
All we know is something
they
happened.
hint it might have been extraterrestrial, but
It might have been that they were supposed to die and weren't and not survive, but that something happened. Somebody did something wrong, and
it's the
they had to make
Final
it back up.
Destination, death balancing the scales kind of.
Yeah, basically. Very good episode. Very good episode in my opinion, and well acted. Next we have What You Need. Another good episode. Old man comes into a bar, starts selling people stuff that he basically knows what you need for the next thing that's going to happen to you, which is great. So a bad guy discovers this and starts threatening the old man to give him what he needs, and he does, and it helps him out a few times. But then he gives him something that results in the man's death, and the old man is like, oh, that wasn't what you need. It was what I need because you were going to kill me. This
what
is
was needed was slippery shoes.
exactly, and this is such a good episode. I mean, the lighting, the way they talk about it, the actors. I mean, it's just such a good episode. It's one of the highlights of the series. Next, we have The Four of Us Are Dying. Now, I like this one. It's about a man who can change his face and take on the identities of other people. And we discover what happens to people when they try to take other people's identities. They get the baggage that goes with it. Now, of course, there's a major problem with this episode. How is he able to mimic people who he's never met? I mean, obviously, whatever ability he has allows him to do that, like hell. Plus the fact that we never get any explanation as to why he has this power, but this is also a running thing throughout the Twilight Zone. Mm-hmm. But in the end, he gets killed for impersonating somebody he shouldn't. Mm-hmm. But what did you think of that one?
Now, I thought our main character having to do 4 performances was pulled off really well between the acting and the makeup.
Yes, I agree. It was well done. Definitely one of the thumbs up episodes. All right, Third from the Sun. That one is about an alien planet that looks like Earth, and they shoot different camera angles to make you think. I mean, they wanted it to be different.
My main problem is the twist is given away right in the title, like, unless you don't know your solar system.
Well, given the amount of time they said it would take to get to Earth, either the person who wrote it actually wasn't good in astronomy, or they were in some kind of dimensional warp. So, like a la Land of the Giants. But basically, it's a world where the world's about to go to hell. A bunch of guys and their families steal a spaceship and escape to another world. And a slimy administrator tries to stop them. Very well done. I mean, yeah, the twist is kind of given away, but they use different camera angles to make it look like it's an alien planet. Next, we have I Shot an Arrow in the Air.
Where it landed, I know not where.
How did you like that one?
I thought it was a really good twist because I never guessed it. Like, I was along with our characters. Like, I thought they actually were stranded on another planet.
Yeah, so basically a bunch of guys go into space. They crash land on what they think is an asteroid. They fight for various reasons until they're all dead except one. And that one person discovers that actually they never left Earth. So he's got to live with the fact that he killed, what happened to his buddies.
One of the others tried to make a message in the sand. Mm-hmm. Turns out what he drew, telephone lines.
Exactly. This one has a real problem. Any astronaut that can't tell the difference between Earth and another planet has to go back to astronaut school. Okay? But other than that, it's a decent episode. Not a great one, but a decent one.
I don't know if they were doing this before Planet of the Apes or Planet of the Apes has made it popular, but the whole "it was Earth all along" thing, I think is used a little bit too much in sci-fi to the point where we're kind of numb to it.
I think you're correct. Next, we have The Hitchhiker. This is a very scary episode about death stalking a woman and all kinds of things going on.
I believe you're going my way.
Yes. I mean, this episode is really creepy, and I love it. And there's a lot of twists and turns, and the ending is really good. Basically, she finds out the hitchhiker who keeps trying to catch up with her is actually Death, and she's actually dead, but doesn't want to admit to it. Like, what was it? One of those things where she was supposed to die and didn't yet, or she was?
She died in a car crash.
Okay,
I mean, she learns that through
but how does
through
like
a phone call to her mother.
yeah? But how does she keep interacting with all these other people then? Like the guy who she gave a ride to, the sailor, and the people who gave her the gas and everything. So maybe she had like escaped death, and he was chasing after her. So she was basically undead. I think that was it. There have been other shows that have done that concept. A person dies, doesn't want to go, so goes on the run, and still has her body, or at least something. Next, we have The Fever, a very interesting one. Your typical guy gets addicted to gambling, and machine comes to life and chases him.
Yeah, they had a hard time getting that eponymous machine because, gambling was illegal. They had to get it from a police impound.
Yes, and what I think is interesting about it was to make the machine sound like coins clinking.
They taped speakers onto
the guy's throat and did a bunch of clinking, and by manipulating it through his mouth, they were able to make it sound that way, and I thought that was fabulous. I mean, it's a forgettable episode, but the ending is just really good.
Fun fact, you can find that machine in the queue of the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
That I did not know.
Along with several other Easter eggs, if you know where to look.
That I did not know. I'll have to remember that. Next, we have The Last Flight. And I thought this one was kind of interesting. I believe this is the one about the plane from World War II that flies through a time warp and lands in modern day.
Yes.
Yes. I guess it's pretty good. I mean, I don't really remember what the point of the episode was, but what did you think?
I don't know. I guess you could say the plane episodes didn't fly with me.
Oh, that was bad. Yeah. It's kind of he basically goes into the future, finds out some information, comes back and changes something for the better.
He basically, I believe he
shoots down 3 planes when he gets back into the past, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, he chickened out the
first time, but after seeing the future, he goes back and finishes what he's supposed to do, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, not the best episode, but an interesting. It was one of those things that started, fish out of water type thing, which was very popular in the 50s, even with Outer Limits. So it's worth watching. Next, we have The Purple Testament. Forgettable. Basically, a guy sees someone turn purple and realizes they're going to die. It stars Darren from Bewitched, the first Darren, Dick York. There's really nothing to this episode. I mean, it's a fascinating concept, but a bad execution. So, and even the payoff is kind of forgettable. It was kind of obvious what was going to happen. So, yeah. Next we have Allergy, another stinker. I mean,
oh, I don't think so.
3 guys land on an alien planet, can't take off, meet a guy who runs some museum, and
yeah, a museum of dead people frozen in time.
And now, if you know that this guy runs a museum of dead people, should you really be drinking something that he's giving you? Which
he basically, gives them embalming fluid.
and kills them and puts them in the museum. So,
But hey, they get to be in whatever scene they desire forever, and
yeah.
so
No, I don't think so.
they died thinking they were going home.
Yeah. Again, not one. In my opinion, not one of the better episodes. But apparently, Sarah disagrees with me. You liked it better?
No, I'd say it was one of the more memorable twists.
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought it was a neat concept.
I see. All right. Next, we have.
I don't know how many more we're gonna get through because there's like 156 original episodes.
Well, I want to at least get through the first season.
Okay.
Next, we have Mirror Image. Basically, alternate realities merge together. People see each other and see their doubles and causes confusion. Great concept, but not very well executed. I mean, I don't know. It's a good episode, but not one that's really gonna. What do you think? Not no opinion.
Now, I think it's a pretty chilling idea of having a doppelganger from
Yeah.
another dimension out in the world. Jordan Peele actually said he used that episode to inspire his hit movie Us.
Yes. A lot of Twilight Zone episodes have been used as the concept for TV episode for movies, like the Truman Show was based on a Twilight Zone episode from the '85 series. The Box was based on an episode from the '85 series called The Box.
No, I think it was called The Button.
The Button. I'm sorry. You're right. Thank you for pointing that out. And like they said, this was Jordan Peele's inspiration for Us. I think actually the episode Allergy may have been inspired by a Doctor Who episode called The Space Museum. One may have. I'm not sure which one came out first, so one may have influenced the other. I don't know. Oh no, this came out in 1960, so this came out first. So maybe this influenced the Doctor Who episode. Who knows? Next, we have The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, which was one of the classics.
Oh, definitely, with themes that still resonate today.
And they remade the episode with a completely different plot. Instead of it being aliens, it was terrorists. Mm-hmm. And in both cases, the episodes were really well done because it also features a cameo appearance by the Forbidden Planet costumes and spaceship. So what did you think of that one?
I think it's brilliant. And also just really sad because
of the way things ended, yeah.
Like the twist is not confined to the Twilight Zone. If you look at all the witch hunts that have gone on through history.
Yep. That's the whole point of it. It has a message that still stands up even today.
When people let their fear and imagination rule, bad things happen.
The 2000 series is the one that made the remake. Next we have Execution. The professor from Gilligan's Island uses a time machine to pull a bad guy from the past. The bad guy tries to see the way things are going in today's society and finds it hard to live. And in the end, he kills the scientist. He gets killed by another bad guy, and that bad guy winds up going back in time and taking his place. It's one of the best, one of the quieter, good episodes of the series. especially with Russell Johnson and Al. Okay. Now, what's the character's name? Albert Salami. Salmi. The exchange between the two of them was great. Okay, the big tall wish. One that you're gonna basically, your typical kid makes a wish. His father's doing something he doesn't like, makes a wish. It fixes the situation.
No, it wasn't his father. He was best friends with the kid and his mom.
Oh, it was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought it was his father. I was thinking of something else. One of the more forgettable episodes, I think.
Oh, I don't think so.
Really?
Especially,
It was the boxer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially the speech the boxer gives to the kid in the end about how maybe people need to believe in magic a little bit more.
Right, yes. As Sarah pointed out, we're not going to get through more than the first season, so we're probably going to shoot the rest of this at a different time, and you're going to be able to watch it on our new YouTube page or Patreon page. But what you're seeing is the beginning of it. Next, we have A Nice Place to Visit, one of my favorites, which was the inspiration for the TV show The Good Place. Great character, Eddie Valentine, gets killed, goes to what he thinks is heaven, and finds himself being killed with kindness, only to find out in the end that he's actually in hell.
Is Sebastian Cabot
Sebastian,
a
yes.
deliciously evil role as Pip and gives one of the best lines.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Mr. Valentine?
What-
This is the other place.
Exactly. And then gives the evil laugh. Mr. French playing a demon disguised as an angel is great. And the character of Eddie Valentine is great,
I think
too.
it's Rocky Valentine, isn't
Rocky,
it?
I'm sorry, you're right. Rocky Valentine. I always mess those two up. Eddie Valentine's a different character, I know. But I actually named one of our characters after him, the character of Callie and Riley Valentine in our show. Next, we have Nightmare as a Child. Again, another one of the good episodes. But like Where Is Everybody, the episode is totally rational. There is nothing in it.
It's kind of frustrating to watch, actually, because we realize as soon as the little kid appears, like, what their identity is, you're just waiting for our main character to realize it. And then they basically have to just spell it out. I'm you.
And they have to explain why this person is here, why the kid is here, and what the purpose of the whole thing is. And it comes out pretty well. Like especially when she gives her younger self hot chocolate, and then she sees her drinking it, but then when she goes and takes the cup, it's still full. That kind of tells us, yeah, this kid ain't really here. But when we discover that the appearance of the child was actually her psychosis telling her that this guy who hurt her is coming back, it makes the episode totally rational. So, and no supernatural element at all, but still a very good episode. Next, we have another one of my favorites, A Stop at Willoughby.
Mm-hmm.
A man is dealing with the bad parts of his life in a world where a lot of people are basically a-holes, including his wife, and he keeps dreaming about this place called Willoughby, which is like a town in 1885 where things are all, how would you say
Like a
it?
Norman Rockwell painting.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very intense. I mean, this episode has a lot of strength to it because the build up is just so wild, especially when he's on the train in the snow and darkness, and suddenly it's warm and bright, and him trying to get off and everything. And then we find out at the end that when he does get off, he's really in a heavenly dimension where everyone knows him by name, and he's escaped into it, and his body is actually dead. The only character in it...
And the name of the funeral firm? Willoughby.
Willoughby. So the only character in this film besides the hero and the people in Willoughby that is actually decent is the conductor. He's the only one that's actually nice to Mr. Williams. And he's pretty cool too. Next we have The Chaser.
Oh, that's a stinker.
That one has been actually a bunch of things have drawn from that one. Basically, I'm going to buy a love potion, make this woman love me, but she's too obsessive, and so I'm going to spend money to buy a poison that's going to kill her, and I don't end up using it because she's pregnant. Mm-hmm. You know how many shows and movies have used that concept? Even Archie used it in Archie's Weird Mysteries. What was it? Weird Science, the TV show, used it. Next, we have A Passage for Trumpet. A nice episode starring Jack Klugman. Another one about a person entering a heavenly dimension, meeting up with Gabriel the angel. It's not a great story, but it's cute.
Well, I'd say less of a heavenly dimension, more like an in-between, because we later find out that...
So more like a purgatory dimension.
I mean, yeah, it's more the people around him don't acknowledge him because they're
dead.
Also in a fugue state.
Yeah.
They don't know they're dead yet.
Okay, we got 3 minutes. There's 4 episodes left. Mr. Beavis.
Stinker.
Major stinker. Got an angel tries to help a guy and...
Glad it did not spin off into its
to
own
a series,
show.
yeah. Angel trying to help a guy and it just not working out. The After Hours, one of your favorites.
Oh, absolutely.
Woman,
Marsha.
yeah,
Marsha.
it's scary as hell, and the ending is even more terrifying.
Basically, this woman goes to a mysterious floor of a department store to find a gold thimble for her mother, I believe.
And
But
mannequin.
she's being stalked by these mannequins.
Yep.
And turns out she was a mannequin herself, and they each get a turn at being human.
Yeah, and it was remade in the 85 series only as a 15-minute one, not as a half-hour one. And that starred Lana from Three's Company. Next, The Mighty Casey. You can throw that one out. It's stupid and it makes no sense.
I guess you could say the mighty Casey has struck out.
Yes, a robot who needs a heart and blah, blah, oh, please. And last but not least, A World of His Own. One of my favorites. A man is able to use a tape recorder to create his own characters and his own realities. And Rod Serling makes his first on-screen appearance in the Twilight Zone. And I just love this episode, especially the elephant scene. It is so scary. And the scene where we discover that his real wife is actually one of his characters, not just the girl he created. And Rod Serling is actually one of his characters. It was really well done.
Well, that's the way it goes. Poof.
Yeah, exactly. This one has also been parodied several times in different movies and TV shows and stuff. Something I wish I could do, I'll be honest. That's a superpower I'd like to have. I believe it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but they used it in the new Charmed series. Okay, we have about 40 seconds. I want to thank Sarah for helping out tonight.
Glad to oblige.
And Ann and Brandon for helping out, and our producers. it's a cold night. We had some, shall we say, gremlins in the machines. But all in all, I think we've done a good show. And there will be another episode this week on Tuesday night. So everyone tune in Tuesday night at 7 o'clock for another episode of the Oracle of Enlightenment Vortex. Until then, please stay warm and avoid the polar vortex.